outside, I need more remix. Yeah. If you talking about a bag, are you quiet at? We getting high, smoking loud, where it's quiet at? And I think I lost my mind, where'd you find it at? And now I'm doing what I want, fuck what Simon says. Friday, a nigga just got paid. He ain't gotta hit my line, cause I'm on my way. Fresh as hell, feeling like the president, but fuck him. Knocking on the door like, let me in. I walk in, see a room full of melanin. And if you disrespect the game, push your melanin in. I ain't seen my niggas in a couple days. I walk in like, what's happening? Who run this space? I got next. Welcome to the very first episode of the Deeply Rooted podcast. This is the host, Bias. And this is definitely my second time recording this. I recorded the first episode and I realized I said 1,000 times. I said 1,000 times. So it was refreshing for me to hear myself, get familiar with the format of how I want to do things, how I want to record things, get comfortable talking, hear myself from another perspective, tune into the podcast as a listener. You know, it was dope to have that. But I definitely trashed that one. And I told myself I'm gonna run it back. So this is the first episode. Man, it's deeply rooted, man. We're going to get right into it. So I want to start out first by just explaining, why deeply rooted. I chose the title Deeply Rooted because I just want to stay grounded, I think it's important to stay just grounded, know who you are, know where you come from, be proud of that. I feel like it's just important to stay grounded, man. We got deep roots, and I want the podcast to be culturally focused, like Black culture, my culture, just talking about various topics as it pertains to us, because that history is important. It's important to talk about these things and just, it's not too many spaces for me to tap into of people talking about the certain things that interest me or that's kind of outside of what's popular or what's just normally going on in the world. It's just certain things that I'm interested in, like language, just different aspects of culture, art, music, different genres of music besides what's on the radio, and different aspects of not even just my own culture, but how my culture is perceived and viewed on a global scale, and how it's connected to other things on a global scale. I don't see a lot of spaces like that. I'm the type of person I like to keep my mind flowing. I like to stay engaged with something. I like to be learning something, taking in new information, researching things. And lately I've been having a lot of phases of just not being mentally stimulated, just somewhat stagnant, And the forms of media that I consume has just been repetitive, and it hasn't been really stimulating me. And it's because, like I said, it's not a lot of spaces discussing the things that interest me, we don't have a lot of our own spaces where we dictate and control what's being put out there. I want this to be that. I want this to be a space for people who feel like how I feel. You may be interested in some of the things I'll be talking about as it pertains to Black culture, music, language, food, everything, Science, man, I'm a big nerd. Love science, man. Love everything science related. from health to just nature, man, everything. So yeah, any topics that just interest me, spark my interest. Yeah, I just want to have a space where I can discuss it, get some thoughts off, and maybe create a space for people with like minds where you can actively be engaged and be mentally stimulated as well. We can all network and socialize and just create that type of wave, put that type of frequency out there, for others as well. You never know, you might learn something. You might, you never know what you might learn, especially once you get into, you share your crazy thoughts and then people get to sharing their crazy thoughts with you as well. And it's like, you never know what you could learn. You never know what you could learn because knowledge is infinite. Truly, knowledge is truly infinite. Knowledge is truly infinite. And the more you network with people and just, you get different worldviews, different perspectives, and I value all of that. So I definitely just wanted to create that type of space. But yeah, that's where deeply rooted come from. I don't want to get too far off topic, but that's how I'm coming, man. It's my second time recording this, so I just wanted to, go ahead and get to it. Jump right in. So my first topic actually is culture building. Culture building, to me, I feel is something that's so important. And I feel like it's something that we don't do enough of, like actively building the culture and actively, laying down stepping stones like with intention for future generations. And it's just something I would like to see more of. When we talk about culture, man, Black culture is just so dope all across the board. Like, we got the best music, we got the best food, like everything. Like, everything about the culture is dope, But see, when we talk about culture, like, we tend to just lean more towards like music, food, things like that. When you talk to other people and they mention things like about culture, it's more so those things are included, but also things like traditions and customs are more so what comes to mind. And as a Black American, as African American, like, we know the history of culture, how our culture came to be and it has been cultivated. And we know that during that process, we lost a lot of things. There's a lot of gaps in our culture. Things that were stripped away, things that we were limited from, things that haven't been allowed to cultivate and grow and develop. But with those gaps, it's like, I just started to ask myself, like, what are we doing to heal the wounds? Like, even though we still face things today, we still actively deal with things, we still, what are we doing as a people to, like, heal the wounds, fill the gaps? Because it's possible. Like, everything is created. Like, culture is things that are definitely historical and learned behaviors, and it's things that we inherit. But the culture is also the culture is also present. You know, it's right now. Like we are the culture manifested. We are the culture is living, breathing with us. You know. So if we become more intentional, you know, about the direction we want the culture to go and what we want the culture to be, we could change the trajectory of our people. Like we could change the atmosphere of our people. Like think about it, like certain traditions, practices, and traditions. Fuck it, we'll use Juneteenth. We'll use Juneteenth because I ain't gonna lie, we don't be going hard enough on Juneteenth. I'm gonna be the one to say it for sure. We do not be going hard enough on Juneteenth, man. I be seeing too many folks like go ham for 4th of July. You know, big fireworks, big grilling. You know, drinking, toe up. Cinco de Mayo, same thing. Big toe up, big tacos, big tequila. Man, Juneteenth come around, folks be inside. Folks be indoors. Don't let me going on. And that's a damn shame. And I'm talking to myself because I ain't do nothing for Juneteenth either, man. I probably fire one up, you know, so I got a little fire one up, you know. Probably ate good, but nothing spectacular. And that's supposed to be the day we go up as a people, you feel me? That's supposed to be the day we go up. Like our one time to go up, that's supposed to be it right there. We could start a tradition today. Something we all agree upon, something that's fun, something that means something that got meaning to us. So we could start that today. And after we do it for a year, it becomes something that we did, you know what I mean? It becomes a part of the history, it becomes a part of the culture. It's forever ingrained once we do it, you know what I mean? And we could pass that on 30, 40, 50, 60, 100 years from now, you know? We'll have something that's like, hey, this is what we do and this is why. But I don't see a lot of that going on. Like, I don't see enough of that going on. Like, and I would love to see more of it. I feel like certain things like that would heal a lot of wounds that's in our communities, no lie. Like we have a lot of gender wars, you know what I mean, back and forth banter that really don't be too much about nothing because we operate in a system that don't work for us, that actively work against us. And that just causes more and more division. We need to have a real sit down of like how we want to go about things, how we want to operate, how we want to handle marriage and children and family, and you know, we don't have things like rites of passage. Like what is the definition of a man in our culture? What's the definition of a woman in our culture? You know, at what point does a boy transition from boy to man? You know, what point does a girl transition from girl to woman, to womanhood? You know, like what's the we don't have those rites of passage. You know, and I feel like things like that is important, and things like that we are missing can be built. It can be built. Things like that adds a little bit of structure to the community. It contributes to the worldview and the morality of our people and how we view ourselves, you know. I ask myself that all the time. I don't typically um, I don't typically uh, direct my speech towards women because I'm not a woman. So whenever I say things, I like to address men, my peers, when it comes to a point of like correcting things, and because I can understand the worldview of how I exist and how I live, and I can speak from my perspective of what's wrong and what you know I can hold myself accountable and hold us accountable as men. So when I speak, I can mainly speak towards the men. Like what makes a boy a man? What is a man? That's something that's important um, to the culture, and we really missing, man. We really missing, like, man, man. I'm lost for words right now. Like we really missing that because we got too many overly tough people, you know, uh, trying to dictate what a man is, and it ain't all about that. It ain't all about being tough. It's about, I can't tell you what a man is, but what I've come to learn, it's about being able to make the best decision no matter how hard it is. It ain't about being tough and being aggressive. That ain't always gonna lead to the best outcome. We got a lot of men that only feel like men as it relates to like women. And it's like, why does your whole identity of being a man only pertain to how you handle women? If you can't be a man outside of anything woman related, you got a long way to go, man. Some folks need that. They need somebody to feel like they could dominate or control or anything like that to make them feel more like a man. That's not what it's about. We got too many Corey Holcombs. I ain't gonna lie. Too many Corey Holcombs out of this motherfucker. I just seen a video of him punching a woman, turning down a fade, then punching a woman. Like, what? Man, black men, where do our morals lie? Like, what's our morals? What's our principles? Because I thought we didn't do that. I thought we don't turn down fades and we don't hit women. Like, but it's a bunch of men following men like that. A bunch of hurt men who can't hold themselves accountable, who ain't grew up, who refuse to grow up. So we got to create a new standard for ourselves, man. We got to bring back the rites of passage. No lie. I was seeing something earlier about a woman who, I think she was creating a cookbook, and it's about healthy soul food, like creating healthier soul food alternatives and newer dishes. See, when we think of culture, we think about all the dishes that we have, but we can create new dishes and incorporate new things into soul food. Folks be doing too much. Folks should be, honey lemon pepper in this, or honey lemon pepper. Nah, you can't do that to everything. Like, but we gotta like start intentionally creating new things, especially if we know we can't consume our foods daily if we prepare them in like a celebratory type of manner. You can't consume that daily. Salt be body in our community. Like, no lie, salt and sugar be like body in our community. So we should be creating alternatives. I do notice that about other cultures. They have foods that they can eat daily, all day, certain dishes that they can eat, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, or little quick things that they could put together, and simple meals, and we have those things as well. Because I enjoy like a lot of simple dishes, a lot of bean dishes and rice, and I love a lot of simple dishes and veggies and things like that. But as a community, I wish I could pull up to certain places and pull up to like these soul food places and get like a nice little dish. Like, I hit the Mexican spot and get tacos. I get tacos all the time because it's quick, it's convenient, it ain't too heavy on you. You can get the fattier options, the lighter options. I want to see things like that in the community. And this lady, she was definitely cooking when she said that. I believe she got a whole website. I'll try to find the name and include it somewhere, wherever I post this in the link. But that was a great idea, and that's a great example of like culture building. That cookbook, that website is dope, And it's things like that we can implement now, and in the future, it just becomes so ingrained in the culture, and we'll have a healthier people, We'll have a healthier people. Like, they say your gut control, they say your stomach control a large percentage of your emotions. They say your stomach control a large percentage of your emotions. So if we collectively as a community are eating better, we might just be a happier people out here. But a murder rate might go down. Murder rate might drop. Folks out here terrorizing the community because he got a boo-boo. Yeah. But yeah, like, that's a great example of culture building. Like, I definitely gotta lock in with that and just keep my ear out for how she grows that, how she develops that. Because it's interesting, man, that we need things like that. Yeah, man. I'm curious how people feel about the topic of just building culture. Like, does anybody else have these thoughts, these ideas? Does anybody have any new ideas, new innovations, new cultural innovations that that they want to push forward, or that they want to see in the culture? Man, it's a lot. It's a lot that we could use. It's a lot that we missing. And I'm just curious to see how it goes, man. I feel like this year, 2026, is going to be like the beginning of like a new, like, renaissance. I feel like we're going to see a whole lot of new innovations when it comes to, like I said, the food, the music, even politics, and just with everything that's going on in the world, man. I feel like it's just going to be a lot of dramatic changes coming, and I'm interested to see how my people, like our community, adjust and adapt to what's going on. Because we gonna do it. We always do it, but like I'm just curious to see the outcome, man. Curious to see the outcome. But yeah, I myself, I know that one of the biggest things about one of the biggest aspects of culture is language. And when it comes to my community and language, the majority of us speak English. Majority of us speak, I would say Ebonics or like African American vernacular English, however you want to say it, call it, especially in the South where I'm from. But the majority of us speak English. You know, you have other pockets of communities that speak other things, like the Gullah Geechee, the Louisiana Creoles, the Creoles in general, because there's Creoles in Alabama and Mississippi and places like that as well. But generally speaking, across the board, like language is a big gap that we have, because obviously that was something that many of us, all of us, it was stripped away during the times of slavery. And it's a big gap that we have in the culture, and it's kind of is whack that that's such a big gap that we have, because it's such a major part of culture. Is, to me, the biggest part of culture, because language is literally how your mind is programmed, So they took more than just language. It's like they took our entire worldview. We lost our entire worldview. The way our ancestors viewed the world, the people who has been on the planet the longest, and with that we lost a lot of information. So yeah, collectively we don't have like a collective language, regardless of region, that we speak outside of English. And I just ask myself, why is that the case? What has anything ever been done about that? Is anybody thinking to do anything about that? Can anything be done about that? And then I just decided to do something about that. And I created the Samano language, which is a language comprised of various West African languages from all of the regions where most Black Americans descend from. And yeah, it's about 3,000 words. And it's something that I began to share. And now a few people speak, a few people learning, a good amount of people speaking. I got about close to 200 people in my classroom, even though it's not as active as I would like it to be. But, I just felt like it was, I don't know, I just felt like maybe that was my purpose, to contribute that to the culture, so that future generations don't have to struggle with that lack of language. Future generations can begin developing their own worldview, developing our own worldview. Because if it's like nobody's going to give us a language. So it's like, how long do we sit around and like not complain, but just be without, and just take on that hurt. If we not collectively finna learn a language like as a collective, do we just sit and just take on that hurt? I don't think so, I don't think so. Why take on that hurt when we can actively heal? So I created that for the community, and it's like if you want to tap into it, you absolutely can, and at least you have somewhere to start from. 3,000 words, you can easily converse with 3,000 words pretty well, but it's created with the intent to be built by the community, and it requires community efforts to build and grow and develop it. Yeah, so it's something I created, building the culture. Now we can't say we don't have, because we do have. Now we can take what we have and grow it, pour into it. Because as a person who loves languages, like that's one of the things that really just sparks my interest, man. Languages, I love languages and just different cultures, world cultures. So I'm really into a lot of languages. Like right now, I would say I'm into Creole a lot, like Haitian Creole, Louisiana Creole, but mostly Haitian Creole, because it's just it's just the largest Creole, so it's a lot of information, a lot of media in Haitian Creole. And it's really dope, man. Just black people on this side of the world speaking other languages is just dope to see, because that's not the norm in our community. I know a few people who like speak Spanish, but that's pretty much it. So it's dope to see black people speak other languages and stuff. So I'm always fascinated by that. So I'm into. I love the Yoruba language, a lot of African languages, Swahili. I know a little bit of a lot of languages, man. But trying to learn these languages, I would always get to a point where, man, I would get bored. Like, I don't know if I guess I just didn't feel the attachments or the connections to them. Even the African, like, languages, like, I didn't feel, I would only get so far before I would lose interest, because I just didn't feel connected to it. And sometimes I guess maybe it was just a reminder of, like, that little gap, like, or sometimes just like I said, like language is a worldview. So once you get into these languages and you begin to speak from that perspective, it just don't align with your worldview all the time. It just don't feel like, it feels like something else other than your thinking. And that's what, inspired me to create Samana. It's a compilation of all these things, and it feels right. I feel connected to it because it's created by me, and it's just created with the intent. No lie. So I definitely want to see more culture building, man. Want to see more culture building. Right now I got the classroom, the Discord. I'm finishing up the book now and getting things together to release that. And I'm excited about that. It's a lot of work. It's been taking a lot of time. I'm also in school and everything. It's a lot, trying to get things together with school and work and just balance everyday life, man. It's a lot, but I'm getting to that point. I'm almost there, ready to get that out there, and I'm excited about that, man. I never thought I'd be writing a book or be an author in any shape or form, but I'm about 90% 90% finished now, and it's a good feeling. But I know a lot of people been wanting more resources and more information on the language, and a lot of people are interested. So yeah, that's something that I'm definitely trying to get out there, man. It's an ebook, and I'll be posting updates about that, and we'll definitely have some episodes discussing that. Episode 2, we probably definitely gonna be jumping right in to the Samano language just to make it interesting. One day, you never know, this whole podcast might be in another language, if you're tapping in. So yeah, you're gonna have a lot of content that's language based for sure. That's gonna be one of the topics that we consistently touch on, because it's something that I just enjoy so much. Like, just languages, just anything sound related, languages, music. Yeah, that's me. I'm in there. But yeah, I think it's been a good first episode, man. A lot less ums. I feel way more comfortable just talking, expressing myself. I'm looking forward to staying consistent and seeing where this podcast go, man, and getting into some more topics just across the board and engaging with people, whoever is willing to listen, whoever agree, whoever disagree, whoever, just creating that space for dialogue, man. That's what it's all about. But yeah, it's been a good first episode of the Deeply Rooted podcast. I'm gonna be right back at you next week. Episode 2, we're gonna get into Samano. I'll see y'all next week. Inside, I need my remix. Yeah. If you talking about a bag, are you quiet at? We getting high, smoking loud, where it's quiet at? And I think I lost my mind, where'd you find it at? And now I'm doing what I want, fuck what Simon says. Friday, a nigga just got paid. He ain't gotta hit my line, cause I'm on my way. Fresh as hell, feeling like the president, but fuck him. Knocking on the door like, let me in. I walk in, see a room full of melanin. And if you disrespect the game, push your melanin. I ain't seen my niggas in a couple days. I walk in like, what's happening? Who run this space? I got next.